Okay, hi. How's it going? Um, can you believe that I'm back with more? Nonetheless, what is that? 5 episodes? One, two, three, four, five that I've watched since the last time we spoke. And I cursed at you, and I got all angry, and I got all fed up. Um, so I guess we'll kind of break it down. I'll try to kind of run through the episodes and my thoughts as it kind of has gone on. As I said, I'm kind of committed to this, seeing the show to its end. So we've watched some more. We'll start off with 7 and 8, and how I thought it was a fantastic turn. They were back to being really strong episodes, and I think that's kind of going to be the thread of something that confuses me, and I think that we'll probably end up coming back to time and time again whenever I end up talking about this show, or maybe it has to do with this format again. I just don't understand how there can't be some quality control overall and have content or stories that are as good as they can be. It's a real anomaly for me, this show. I haven't really, I'm trying to think if there's a show that's been this kind of hot and cold for me in a long time, and I just don't think that there has been. I usually either really enjoy a show or just dislike a show. It's very rarely both of those extremes in one season. So what make these episodes stronger for me? The biggest thing is David Tennant definitely made the episode stronger. He's a pretty wonderful actor. He's got a lot of something to work with there, I think, is part of it. His interactions with Jessica Jones, as Kilgrave, are great to watch. They work really well together. They play off each other really nicely. Him not using his power, or not wanting to use his power, again, at this point, I will say, spoilers. I'm going to be talking about things as they come. So if you haven't seen it, don't watch any further. The idea of him wanting her to come back to him on her own, I think, was a real nice touch, and I think really disturbing now as the episodes went on. We find out why that is. But at this stage, we're still in the mindset of like, he's kind of just fucking with her. And when she does decide to go and live with him at the house, in episode 8, I think, was one of my favorite episodes of the entire season so far. I thought that was such an original angle. I don't know if I've ever seen something like that tackled. I mean, every time I end up talking about movies or TV or comics or whatever it happens to be, as I'm sure a lot of other people do, what I love is the subtext. I love reading the subtext. I love reading into what's being discussed, not in an indirect way. So, I mean, you have a guy, a male figure, who's raped this woman, basically, and held her captive and done horrible things to her, stuff that's left up mostly to our imagination, which I can't stress enough how much more impactful that is, and how I kind of like that it didn't go that route yet. Again, I'm not finished this season, but it hasn't gone that route yet for me, where I thought the violence was over the top, like I did in Daredevil, and I appreciate that. I think it's a really nice way to deal with it. So you have this idea of a man who has tormented this woman, and she can't get over it, and she keeps reliving the rape, quote unquote, in her mind, and now she chooses to go back to him and thinks that she can help him, and what that says about that type of relationship. And I thought it was really interesting, and especially when she took him to rescue the hostages and kind of told him, like, this is what you can do. You have this power. fix this situation. You can rescue, you can save people's lives here. And he goes through it. And I mean, it's a little bit of, in a way, it turns a little bit because he kind of has this false feeling of like, oh, wow, I've really pleased you, you know, like pleasing his mother kind of thing, right? That classical kind of stereotype there. It felt good to please mommy kind of thing. So he's going to do whatever. I really like that idea. And I really wish they would have developed that more and spent another episode where she tried to, as a basis, tried to see if she could change him somehow. I thought that was really great territory that I don't think has really been explored that much in anything that I've seen. And then the episode ends and the tables turn and she takes him prisoner and knocks him out. And then we go to episode 9, which we'll get to in a moment. So it had this 7 and 8 just really built it up again after crashing from 4, 5, and 6. 7, 8 really just built it up again. And then at the end of 8, I was a little disappointed, but I still had faith because it's like, you know, those were strong episodes again. Maybe this can turn around. And again, it just seems to be more evidence that 13 episodes is just too much fucking time for North American writers, maybe writers in general, maybe specifically writers who were trying to translate comic books into TV. I don't know. I don't think that there's a umbrella for that. I just think 13 episodes is too many. It's too many episodes to keep treading the same territory. When you have a nugget of a story that you want to tell the nugget of the story. Tighten it up. Get past the filler episodes. Forget all that shit. Again, like I said last video, and I stand by this, if you're going to go the Netflix route and you're not going to do a weekly drama, you're going to film them all, you're going to release them all at once, go the extra step. Do an 8-episode series or a season. Do a 6-episode season. Give us something that's really going to be impactful and have that be the season. Let's break all the molds. So 4, 5, and 6 were throwaways. So really we have episode 1, 2, 3, 7, and 8. So out of 8 episodes, 5 solid, for me, solid episodes. Until episode 9. Now, I mean, the thing that I'm going to say right off the bat, because it's one thing that when it did happen in a later episode, I literally yelled at the TV because I could see it coming. And then when it actually happened, I could not believe that it happened. I was so angry. So we have this, she takes him prisoner in this room that we've been told multiple times how safe and protective and secure it is, how many safeguards there are, how we can't hear him when he's in there. So his mind control can't work because even though he's in the same room, you can't hear him. And when they do turn on the mic, the fact that the walls are so thick that nothing is going to penetrate them, absolutely anything is going to penetrate them. And again, there's an explanation for it, but I don't accept it. So then it turns into what can only be described to me as kind of like a revenge, 70s exploitation revenge flick. There's some Asian movies. I can't remember the director's name, but he did Old Boy, Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, I think, and then Lady Vengeance, which if you haven't seen, Old Boy is fantastic. The original is fantastic, but Lady Vengeance is something to see. It's a beautiful movie. And this kind of had that going for it a little bit, like, okay, now the tables are turned. So now she's going to get her revenge on him. What's she going to do? And she's not really. She's just still grasping at these bullshit straws of trying to get some evidence. And just the thing that ends up happening with this show is it builds up this momentum and these ideas, and then it's like the brakes come on and there's nothing accelerating the ideas forward. There's nothing. It's just everything comes to a standstill. It just becomes stagnant as we watch these people get shipped in front of the camera in this room to put in their 2 cents so they can deal with their demons and kind of wander away. There's not really a sense of urgency. There's not really a sense of, I don't know, I guess there could be something said for that too. It's this woman who's obviously traumatized and going through this trauma, and she's bringing everybody around her down this dark path that she's just obsessing over. So I guess I can kind of see it from that side, but it doesn't, I don't think it works. And again, I think it comes back to the people and the medium. They just don't have control of the medium to get those ideas across. So Kilgrave gets captured. Now I'm not going to remember exactly what episode stuff happened in. So somewhere in episodes 10 and 11, he gets captured. We've now found out he's talked about his childhood in episode 8, I think, 7 or 8, one of those. I think it was episode 8. So we now know kind of his backstory a little bit, which I thought was interesting too. So she's going to go and she's going to look for the parents, and she just keeps leaving these people in charge who are completely like just so transparently damaged themselves, again, which maybe speaks to her state of mind that she can't recognize these people closest to her that are just fucked up and shouldn't be trusted. Well, she goes on this hunt for the parents, which she then finds, and et cetera, and the parents get involved in it. And that's kind of when the tables turn, and we now have the detective, the homicide detective, handcuffed to a pipe so he can be witness. They're filming. The lawyer lady is there. Whatever her name is, the blonde is there as well. And the parents are there, and this is the big moment. And everything, of course, is going to go wrong. I mean, you know, right? So she apparently has her safeguard. The safeguard stops. The lawyer lady, when all the shit is hitting the fan, the mother's now stabbed herself to death, and Jessica's going to run in and save the day. The lawyer lady shoots through the fucking glass perimeter with her bullshit little handgun. I think it was 2 shots. I think it was 2 bullets. The first one cracked the glass. The second one made it explode. And that was the point where I lost it and yelled at the TV. That's just a big glaring example to me of just, again, lazy writing. It's just extremely lazy writing in my mind. So lazy. And it just becomes, it has more of an impact, and it upsets me and angers me more because I've seen the moments of just not brilliance, but I've seen moments of really high quality television that I was enjoying. So for it to take that dive just really boggles my mind. And then from there, the rest of episode 10 and into episode 11, it just became kind of a trial for both Special Sexy Lady Friend and myself. Like, it became a trial, just slogging through it. Just cliche after cliche. And again, just more, he's escaped and they're going for a walk and they're checking out the morgue, and, well, maybe we should go here. Well, I'm going to go home first. I'll meet you there in an hour. There's this sense of urgency again is gone, of like, this guy's just killed a bunch of people. There's a bunch of shit that's happened, and you ramp, and then it's just let it all go. So you ramp it really, really high, and there's no payoff whatsoever. It's back to just being excruciating. So, I mean, I'm holding off a little bit of hope that the last 2 episodes can pull it together and show me something, so I don't feel like this was a complete waste of time. Because at this point, I really need it to wrap up. And you'll notice I'm not even talking about the blonde cop, because, I mean, I think I pretty much said it before. He's a weak actor. It's a weak fucking character. It's a weak storyline. It's everything involving that cop is just complete and utter nonsense. It's just such a time waster. And the other thing that's also bugging me about it, which tends to bug me about kind of the classic superhero story, Kilgrave should die, right? I mean, is there any sort of moral dilemma here in this? There's usually, when it's done right, when you have a good Batman Joker story, for example, you can see the moral dilemma to some degree, because I don't always agree with that. And if you go back to my Death of the Family videos, I had a similar issue there where it's just like, you know what? At this point, you're not saying anything anymore. Just fucking kill the guy or find another angle, which is why I was interested when I thought that the angle was going to be them kind of living together and cohabitating, and her trying to actually have some positive influence on him and kind of cure him psychologically. I thought that would be really interesting, because I don't know if that's been done. But instead, what we do is we just go back to the same old bullshit. She's got to save some token of what she's lost. And I can't even not roll my eyes when I'm talking about it. It's just such the same old bullshit. And it just gets really old and tiring where we're yelling at the TV, just fucking kill him, you know? And we're not supposed to be, I don't think. I think this is supposed to be something that's emotionally and intellectually kind of dividing us. And should she do it? Well, killing is wrong, da da da. There's nothing in here that does that. The motherfucker deserves to die. Everywhere he goes, people die. You are an idiot for letting him live. Everybody around you who's telling you to kill him are right. Forget your nonsense, your teen angst, and just kill the motherfucker. And I think that's probably, as is another thing that I've talked about before, one of the reasons I never really responded to some of the X-Men stories that I had read or been in contact with. And again, this isn't a comment about the entire existence of every single X-Men story, far from it. It's just that idea of teen angst and things don't work for me. It ends up really turning me off and sometimes making me a little angry, because I don't identify with any of that. I'm an adult. I'm not a fucking angst-ridden teenager who hates my parents. I'm an angst-ridden adult who hates my parents. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding about that. But I mean, it's just, and I see some of that in her as well with the black hair. And there's a specific flashback where she's wearing a dress when she's kind of under his power and stuff. And she really does look like she's got the black boots on and kind of like look on her face, which I'm really getting sick of, the way she tries to like look all kind of intensely at things. And I'm getting a little bored with that kind of shit from her too. That some of that sometimes comes through a little much, and it ends up turning me off, because I don't want to see a teen angst story about nobody understands me and everything is so tough and you guys don't know what I'm trying to do for you. You guys don't appreciate it, which is almost where it goes a little bit with that support group, where they feel like it's all her fault. And in a way, they're fucking right. It's all her fault. So instead of leaving on that note, though, let's leave on a positive note and talk about how quirky and amazing the red-haired sister is. What about his little toes? She killed me. I thought every time she's in it, there's something about that actress that I really enjoy. And the dialogue that they give her, I think, works really well. She's just this quirky woman who I grew to enjoy quite a bit. When she was on screen, I actually laughed at a couple of things that she said. I thought she came across really well. And that side of that story is interesting as well. Just not in any sort of great turning point kind of way, but just in a way of, I like her character. I can see that, you know, she's a little weird, but I like that they've taken these kind of weird characters and developed them a little bit more, fleshed them out a little bit more. They still are kind of the token weirdos in the show, or they were. One of them is obviously dead now, but I'm glad that they did that, because she deserves it. I think she delivered some great dialogue, and kind of her kind of odd intensity around that support group when she was trying to rile them all up, I thought was fantastic. I really liked it. It became kind of a caricature, you know what I mean? Which is what I liked in that. So I think that's plenty long enough. These are going to be quite the series of videos. Joy to anger to acceptance. So 2 more episodes to go, episode 12 and 13. And then we'll see how it all ties up at the end of episode 11. We saw that Luke Cage's bar got blown up, and Luke Cage, of course, comes walking right out the front door on fire, which I also thought was pretty good too. I'm just waiting. I'm surprised. I thought they would kind of introduce him in, say, episode 13. Because what I'm assuming is this time that we haven't seen him is going to be the time frame that the Luke Cage series takes place. I don't know. I have no idea. That's just a pure estimate. I thought that that's what it was, so he'd appear at the end. So I can only assume that at the end there's going to be some sort of Daredevil linkage within that last episode. I think I saw that. Is it Rosario Dawson? Is that her name? I think I saw that she was listed as one of the cast when I saw some casting and things. So I'm guessing that that's going to be sort of a link at some point to kind of tie the whole worlds together. So we'll see how that happens. I'm curious to see how that happens. But 2 more episodes, which is good because my steam is running out for this. Let's hope it ends well. And then I guess we have Luke Cage to look forward to being disappointed in. Thanks very much for watching.